The Grand Chamber of the Galactic Council buzzed with tension as hundreds of alien representatives gathered for their annual meeting. The massive crystal dome above reflected the light of 3 moons, casting an eerie glow over the assembled delegates. At the center of attention stood Representative Morton, a tall blue-skinned alien from the Centauri system, as he prepared to present his report on Earth. Distinguished members of the Council, Morton's voice echoed through the chamber. I propose we officially designate Earth as a primitive reserve. He paused, letting his words sink in. Our observations show they have barely mastered basic space travel. They would be better served under our protection. In reality, Morton and several other powerful council members had discovered something that terrified them. Human technology was advancing at an unprecedented rate. Their surveillance had revealed that humans had already begun experimenting with antimatter drives and quantum computing, developments that had taken other species centuries to achieve. The Council's real fear wasn't human primitiveness, it was human potential. In a secret meeting before the main session, Morton had met with the Council's inner circle. If we don't contain them now, he had warned, they'll surpass us within decades. Their adaptability and innovation rates are unlike anything we've seen. The Council's plan was simple but devious. By declaring Earth a primitive reserve, they could place surveillance satellites and resource extraction stations throughout the solar system under the guise of protective monitoring. The humans would be kept in the dark about the true extent of galactic civilization, while the Council quietly stripped their solar system of valuable resources. What the Council didn't know was that their supposedly secret meeting had been observed. In a small research facility near the Arctic Circle, Dr. Tom Walker stood frozen in front of his quantum detection array. The device, designed to study dark matter, had picked up something else entirely, patterns of organized energy that could only come from advanced technology. Mark, come look at this, Tom called to his colleague, Dr. Mark Rogers. These readings, they're not natural. Mark hurried over, his coffee forgotten on his desk. He studied the readings, his face growing pale. These energy signatures, they're appearing and disappearing all around our solar system. Whatever this is, it's using technology far beyond anything we've officially developed. The 2 scientists quickly realized they had stumbled onto something massive. The pattern suggested a network of cloaked stations and satellites, all positioned to watch Earth. But why hadn't they detected these before? The answer came 3 days later, when they discovered that their quantum detection array had only started picking up these signatures after they had modified it with their new quantum resonance detector, a piece of technology that wasn't supposed to exist yet, according to the official records. Tom and Mark knew they had to be careful. If their discovery was as significant as they suspected, they couldn't risk alerting whoever was watching them. They encoded their findings in what appeared to be routine atmospheric data and sent it to a select group of scientific facilities around the world. Meanwhile, in the Galactic Council chamber, the vote to designate Earth as a primitive reserve passed with an overwhelming majority. Morton smiled as he watched the results display above the chamber. Everything was proceeding according to plan. The motion passes, announced the Council speaker. Earth is hereby designated as a protected primitive reserve. All standard protocols will be implemented immediately. As the Council members congratulated themselves on their wisdom and benevolence, none of them noticed the small communication drone that had been hidden in the chamber's decorative architecture. The drone had recorded everything and was already transmitting its data through a series of quantum-encrypted channels, heading towards a destination that officially didn't exist. The Council thought they were closing a trap around Earth. They didn't realize that their actions had just triggered a sequence of events that would shake the foundations of galactic society. In their arrogance, they had made a critical mistake. They had underestimated humanity's ability to detect their presence, and more importantly, humanity's response when threatened. As the Council session ended, the first pieces of humanity's counter-move were already falling into place, hidden beneath a carefully maintained facade of ignorance. The game had begun. but only one side knew all the players. Deep within a secure military facility in Colorado, Commander James Miller stared at the holographic display with a mixture of anger and awe. The data from Dr. Walker and Dr. Rogers' quantum detection array had been combined with military satellite feeds, revealing a disturbing truth about Earth's solar system. "It's like a web," he muttered, spinning the hologram with a gesture. Countless red dots blinked across the display, each representing an alien surveillance station or satellite. They had found over 300 of them, all carefully hidden using advanced cloaking technology. Colonel Richard Hayes, Miller's superior, walked into the room. His face was grim as he tossed a thick folder onto the conference table. "It gets worse," he said. "We've analyzed the decay patterns in the quantum signatures. Some of these stations have been here for over 50 years. Miller felt his blood run cold. 50 years. They'd been watching us for that long. "Watching and more," Hayes replied, pulling up another set of data. "We've detected regular energy pulses from these stations to points beyond Pluto. They're not just observing. They're stealing resources from our system." The room fell silent as the implications sank in. Humanity had not been alone in their development. They had been carefully monitored, studied, and exploited by an advanced alien civilization that had deemed them too primitive to contact. Across the globe, other discoveries were being made. In Russia, scientists found evidence of alien mining operations in the Kuiper Belt. Chinese quantum researchers detected regular data transmissions being beamed toward the galactic core. European space telescopes, newly upgraded with quantum sensing technology, spotted artificial structures hidden behind Mars. At a secret underground facility in Nevada, Dr. Anna Thompson led a team analyzing the alien transmissions they'd managed to intercept. After 3 days of non-stop work, she finally cracked part of their communication code. "Commander Miller," she called over the secure quantum link. "You need to see this immediately." The decoded transmission revealed something that made their blood boil. It was a report from one of the surveillance stations to what they now knew was called the Galactic Council. The report discussed humans as if they were lab specimens, noting their technological progress with clinical detachment and recommending continued isolation to prevent contamination of galactic society. Miller slammed his fist on the table. "They're treating us like animals in a zoo." But there was something else in the data, something that made Thompson smile despite the situation. "Sir, look at their technological assessment of Earth. They think we're decades behind where we actually are. They have no idea about our quantum developments, our antimatter research, or our advanced AI systems." Hayes nodded slowly, a plan forming in his mind. "So they think we're primitive. Let's use that assumption against them." Over the next few days, military leaders and scientists from around the world gathered in a secure bunker deep beneath the Rocky Mountains. They brought with them humanity's most closely guarded secrets, technologies that had been developed in absolute secrecy, hidden even from most of their own governments. "We've had working FTL drives for 5 years," admitted the head of a classified Japanese research program. "We kept it secret because we detected unusual energy signatures near our test sites. Our quantum computers are 3 generations ahead of what we publicly acknowledge," added a German scientist. "We suspected we were being watched." As more revelations came to light, it became clear that humanity had independently developed many technologies that rivaled or surpassed those used by their watchers. They had done it in secret, driven by an instinctive understanding that they weren't alone. Miller stood before the assembled leaders, his voice firm with determination. "They think they've contained us, but their arrogance will be their downfall. We've detected their presence, decoded their communications, and mapped their surveillance network, all without them realizing it." He pulled up a new hologram, showing a detailed battle plan. "They've given us the perfect opportunity. While they think we're trapped in our own solar system, we can prepare our response. When we strike, they'll never know what hit them." The room erupted in determined discussion as humanity's leaders began planning their response to this cosmic deception. The Galactic Council had made a critical error in judgment. They had tried to cage a species that had already learned to pick the lock. In orbit above Earth, an alien surveillance satellite continued its routine scanning, its operators completely unaware that their targets had not only discovered them, but were already planning their downfall. The countdown to humanity's revenge had begun. In the shadows of the moon's far side, humanity's secret shipyards hummed with activity. What appeared to be routine mining operations to the alien surveillance networks was actually the heart of Project Phoenix, Earth's clandestine preparation for galactic warfare. General Robert Wilson watched through reinforced windows as automated construction units assembled another stealth warship. The vessel's hull was made from metamaterials that absorbed or redirected most forms of detection, a technology humans had reverse-engineered from studying the aliens' own cloaking systems. "Status report," he commanded, turning to his second-in-command, Major Diana Foster. "The first fleet is nearly complete," she replied, bringing up a holographic display. 30 warships, 15 carriers, and 50 support vessels, all equipped with our new quantum drive systems. The aliens won't be able to detect them until it's too late. The massive lunar facility was just one of many hidden across the solar system. Inside asteroids, beneath planetary surfaces, and in artificial debris fields, humanity had spent the last year building their response to the Galactic Council's deception. Deep within Mars' Valles Marineris, scientists worked on weapons that the Council couldn't imagine humans possessing. Dr. Peter Anderson led the team developing the Prometheus Protocol, a weapon system that could disable alien technology without destroying it. The beauty of it, he explained to visiting military officials, is that it uses their own surveillance network against them. When we activate it, their entire command and control system will collapse. Meanwhile, on Earth, every major nation had united under a single banner for the first time in human history. The threat from beyond had accomplished what centuries of diplomacy couldn't: true global cooperation. In a fortified room beneath Geneva, the Earth Defense Council met daily to coordinate their efforts. Representatives from every nation worked together, sharing technologies and resources that had previously been their most closely guarded secrets. The Chinese quantum teleportation system is now fully integrated with the American antimatter weapons, reported one scientist. The Russian gravity manipulation technology works perfectly with the Indian stealth systems. They worked with quiet determination, knowing that every day the alien surveillance stations reported back to the Council about Earth's apparent primitive status. Every fake satellite launch, every staged rocket test, and every fabricated news report about failed space missions helped reinforce the deception. The aliens watched humans struggle with basic rocket technology, never realizing that the real advances were happening right under their sensors. Like a magician's misdirection, humanity kept their watchers focused on the hand that wasn't doing the real work. In the asteroid belt, mining ships that appeared to be collecting simple minerals were actually gathering materials for the largest fleet ever built by humans. The ships were assembled in pieces, in different locations, using methods that mimicked natural space phenomena to any watching eyes. Commander Miller, now in charge of fleet coordination, received regular updates from these hidden facilities. "The Council's arrogance is our greatest advantage," he told his officers. "They're so convinced of their superiority that they're not looking for any signs of advanced technology." The training of crews for the new ships was done in virtual reality chambers deep underground. Pilots and gunners learned to handle technologies that officially didn't exist, preparing for a war against an enemy that thought them incapable of spaceflight. As the months passed, humanity's hidden strength grew. The fake public space program continued to show appropriate levels of primitive development, while behind the scenes, Earth prepared for a reckoning that would shake the galaxy. "Final system check complete," reported Major Foster, looking at the latest test results. "The quantum communication network is ready. We can coordinate the entire fleet without using any channels the Council can detect." General Wilson nodded, satisfaction evident in his expression. 1 year ago, they thought they were caging us. Instead, they gave us time to prepare, time to build, time to plan. And soon, he paused, looking at the massive fleet hidden in the lunar shadows. Soon they'll learn what happens when you underestimate humanity. In orbit, the alien surveillance satellites continued their routine observations, reporting back to the Council about Earth's primitive space capabilities. Below them, humanity's revenge grew stronger by the day, hidden in plain sight, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. The Galactic Council's primary resource processing station hung silently in space near Jupiter's orbit, its massive frame processing stolen resources from Earth's solar system. The alien crew worked with casual efficiency, confident in their superior technology and their invisibility to primitive Earth sensors. Station Commander Dex was reviewing the daily extraction reports when the first alarm sounded. "Impossible," he muttered, staring at the sensor readings. Where empty space had existed moments before, 30 warships had suddenly appeared, their designs completely unknown to Council records. "Sir," his second-in-command called out, panic evident in his voice. "They're using quantum drives." But the humans shouldn't have. The transmission cut off as the first wave of human attacks hit. The Prometheus protocol activated, spreading through the station's systems like a digital wildfire. Screens went dark, weapons powered down, and communication arrays fell silent. Commander Miller stood on the bridge of the EDS Revenge, Earth's first quantum battleship, watching as his fleet surrounded the massive station. No distress signals got out, his tactical officer reported. "The station is completely disabled." "Begin boarding operations," Miller ordered. "Remember, we want their data cores intact." Across the solar system, similar scenes played out at every major Council installation. Humanity's hidden fleet struck simultaneously at 12 different locations, using the Council's own surveillance network to coordinate their attacks. At the Kuiper Belt mining facility, alien workers could only watch in shock as ships seemingly materialized from nowhere, their stealth systems finally deactivated. The human vessels were sleek, advanced, and nothing like the primitive rockets the Council thought Earth capable of building. Major Foster led the assault on the largest processing station. Her teams moved through the alien corridors with practiced precision, their armor incorporating technologies reverse-engineered from crashed Council ships. The alien defenders found their weapons ineffective against Earth's hybrid shield technology. "Control center secured," Foster reported, standing among stunned alien officers. "You should see their faces, sir. They can't believe we managed this." In the Neptune sector, Earth's carriers launched swarms of autonomous fighter drones, overwhelming the Council's defensive positions with tactics they'd never encountered. The aliens had expected primitive nuclear missiles, not quantum-linked swarm intelligence and antimatter weapons. General Wilson coordinated the entire operation from the Lunar Command Center. Holographic displays showed the status of each engagement, with green indicators showing success after success. "Phase 1 complete," he announced. "All primary targets neutralized." The Council's response ships arrived 3 hours later, only to find their major installations already under human control. Their supposedly superior weapons were useless against Earth's hybrid defense systems, and their communications were easily intercepted by human quantum arrays. "Send the message," Wilson commanded. Across all Council frequencies, in every known alien language, humanity's declaration played. "For decades, you watched us, stole from us, and treated us like animals in a zoo. You thought we were primitive. You were wrong. This is just the beginning of our response to your deception." In the Galactic Council chamber, panic erupted as reports of the attacks flooded in. Representative Morton, who had so confidently dismissed humans as primitive, stood speechless as footage showed Earth ships using technology that should have been centuries beyond their capability. "How did we miss this?" he whispered, watching another Council battleship fall to human forces. "How did they hide all of this from us?" The answer was simple but devastating. Human ingenuity had far surpassed the Council's rigid expectations. While they watched for rocket tests and satellite launches, Humanity had leapfrogged their technology in secret, preparing for this very moment. As the first day of combat ended, humanity had secured control of every major Council installation in their solar system. The captured data cores revealed the full extent of the Council's exploitation, further justifying Earth's response in the eyes of its leaders. Commander Miller stood in the captured station's control room, looking out at Jupiter's massive form. "Send word to command," he ordered. "Phase 1 successful. Ready to begin Phase 2. The real war was just beginning, and humanity had shown the galaxy that they were anything but primitive. In the darkness of space, Earth's fleet regrouped, preparing for their next strike. The Council's arrogance had cost them dearly, and humanity's revenge was far from complete. The Grand Council chamber, once a symbol of galactic unity, had descended into chaos. Representatives from younger civilizations shouted accusations at the senior council members, their voices echoing off the crystal dome above. Admiral Lisa Stone stood calmly at the center of the storm, her holographic projection towering over the assembled aliens. Behind her, footage played showing the Council's secret resource extraction operations and surveillance networks around Earth. For generations, she addressed the chamber. "Your Council has preached unity and advancement while secretly exploiting developing worlds. Earth was not your only victim, merely the first to fight back." The evidence was damning. The data cores captured in humanity's first strike had revealed centuries of systematic exploitation. Dozens of younger civilizations learned they too had been designated as primitive reserves and were being secretly monitored and robbed of resources. Representative Taylor from Earth's delegation watched as the Council's authority crumbled in real time. The younger species, led by the Arcturus Coalition, were already announcing their separation from Council control. "Your message reached us just in time," the Arcturian ambassador told Taylor privately. "Our scientists had begun detecting the Council's hidden stations around our worlds. We were preparing our own response, but you acted first." In another part of the chamber, Council Security Chief Marcus observed the proceedings with growing concern. The carefully maintained power structure of centuries was collapsing around them. More worrying were the reports coming in from the frontier sectors. Earth's military strikes had inspired other resistances. 3 more systems have declared independence, his aide reported. They're demanding immediate removal of all Council monitoring stations. The Council's emergency session stretched into its 3rd day. The senior members tried desperately to maintain control, but each hour brought new revelations of their deceptions. Earth's attack had broken not just their military strength, but their political legitimacy. Admiral Stone continued her diplomatic offensive, while Earth's fleet maintained pressure on Council military installations. "We offer an alternative," she announced to the chamber. "A new galactic order, built on genuine cooperation and respect, not exploitation and lies." In the Centauri sector, a Council suppression fleet found itself surrounded by ships from 3 different species, all using technology they shouldn't have possessed. Like Earth, these civilizations had developed in secret, hiding their true capabilities from Council observers. "The humans showed us it could be done," declared the Centauri resistance leader. "Your time of dominance is over." Back on Earth, the Defense Council monitored the political upheaval with satisfaction. Their military strike had achieved more than just revenge. It had sparked a galactic revolution. "The Council's younger members are reaching out for protection," reported General Wilson. "They fear retaliation from the old guard. 7 systems have already requested Earth's military support." The Council's attempt to maintain control through force backfired spectacularly. When they sent ships to restore order in rebellious systems, they found Earth's fleet waiting. The same advanced technology that had shocked them in the first strike was now being used to protect other species from their aggression. "You fail to understand." Admiral Stone addressed the desperate Council leadership. "This isn't just about Earth anymore. Your actions have united the species you tried to keep divided. Your lies have created an alliance against you." In the following hours, more revelations emerged. The Council's secret archives, accessed through captured data cores, showed centuries of manipulation and exploitation. Species that thought they had developed independently learned they had been carefully controlled and limited by Council interference. Representative Taylor watched as another group of alien diplomats formally withdrew from the Council. They thought they could cage us all, he mused to his staff. Instead, they created a network of allies they never saw coming. The crystal dome that had witnessed centuries of Council authority now reflected the light of a new dawn. The old order was crumbling, and from its ruins, something new was emerging. An alliance of species united not by force or deception, but by their shared experience of Council oppression. As the fifth day of chaos drew to a close, Admiral Stone transmitted her final message of the session. The age of Council dominance is over. The future belongs to those who choose cooperation over control. The galaxy would never be the same. On the edge of Council space, their most secret military installation, Station Omega, erupted in a series of silent explosions. Earth's stealth fleet had struck again, this time targeting the heart of the Council's hidden military power. Commander Miller watched from the bridge of the EDS Revenge as his ships systematically disabled the station's defenses. They hid this facility for 300 years, he noted, and we found it in less than a week. Inside the station, Earth's special forces moved with deadly efficiency. Their quantum-enhanced combat suits easily overwhelmed the Council's elite guards. Leading the assault, Major Foster's team fought their way to the central control room. "You don't understand what you're doing," the station commander pleaded as Foster's team secured the room. "This facility maintains order in the galaxy." "No," Foster replied, watching as her tech specialists began downloading the station's databases. "It maintains your control." "There's a difference." Back on Earth, the Cyber Warfare Division launched their most ambitious attack yet. Led by Dr. Thomas Reed, they had spent months preparing a virus that could penetrate the Council's quantum-encrypted communications network. "Execute Operation Blackout," Reed commanded. Across his screens, the Council's vast communication web began to dissolve. Emergency channels failed, secure links went dark, and centuries of hidden messages were suddenly exposed to the galaxy. In the Council's remaining strongholds, panic spread as they lost contact with their forces. Their carefully maintained network of control was being dismantled piece by piece. Earth's forces, supported by newly liberated alien allies, struck at every hidden installation they discovered. "Another weapons cache found in the Procyon sector," reported General Wilson, updating the war map. "That makes 17 secret arsenals we've captured. Each one supposedly didn't exist." The Council's response grew increasingly desperate. They launched their doomsday weapons, only to find that Earth had already discovered and neutralized most of them. They called for help from secret allies, only to learn that those allies had already switched sides. Admiral Stone coordinated with the rebel fleet from the Arcturus sector. "The Council's forces are falling back to their core systems," she announced. "They've lost control of their outer territories." In the Council's central command bunker, deep beneath their capital world, the surviving leaders watched in horror as their empire crumbled. Centuries of careful manipulation and control were being undone in a matter of weeks. "How?" demanded the Council's supreme commander. "How did they advance so far without us knowing?" The answer came from their own archives, now being broadcast across the galaxy. Earth's scientists had discovered the Council's surveillance methods decades ago and had developed their technology specifically to evade detection. While the Council watched for radio signals and rocket launches, humanity had quietly mastered quantum mechanics and antimatter manipulation. On the front lines, Earth's forces continued their advance. The Council's supposedly invincible dreadnoughts found themselves outmaneuvered by human ships using technologies that merged the best of multiple species innovations. Their entire system was built on the assumption of their superiority, Miller observed as another Council fortress fell. They never considered that the species they dismissed as primitive might surpass them. The final blow came from within. Council worlds, seeing the collapse of their leadership's power, began to surrender. Their populations, long fed propaganda about human primitiveness, watched in awe as Earth's fleet demonstrated capabilities their leaders had claimed were impossible. Dr. Reed's team, having completely compromised the Council's network, began broadcasting proof of centuries of deception. Every file, every secret order, every hidden crime, he announced. It's all public now. In orbit above the Council's capital, the combined fleet of Earth and its new allies prepared for the final assault. The Council's last defensive line, once thought impregnable, now faced weapons and tactics they couldn't counter. "Send the final message," ordered Admiral Stone. Across all frequencies, Earth's ultimatum was clear: surrender and face justice, or witness the complete destruction of their remaining military power. As the Council's final stronghold fell, humanity's revenge was complete, not just through military might, but through the exposure of truth and the liberation of other species. The Council's greatest fear had been realized. Not only had humanity caught up, they had surpassed their would-be captors in every way. The galaxy would never again underestimate the species they had tried to cage. 1 year after the Council's fall, representatives from 100 species gathered in the rebuilt Council chamber. The crystal dome, now restored with Earth's advanced materials, sparkled with a new brilliance that seemed to reflect the changed galaxy below. Admiral Stone, now serving as Earth's primary diplomatic representative, stood at the podium where the old Council had once proclaimed humanity's primitive status. The irony wasn't lost on anyone present. "Today we establish the Galactic Alliance," she announced, her voice carrying across the vast chamber. "Not built on deception and control, but on mutual respect and cooperation. Every species, regardless of their technological level, will have an equal voice." The chamber had been redesigned to eliminate the hierarchical seating that had once separated advanced species from developing ones. Now all representatives sat as equals in a circular arrangement, symbolizing the new balance of power. Commander Miller, watching from his position among Earth's delegation, reflected on how much had changed. The same aliens who had once monitored Earth as primitives now saw humanity's guidance in technology and governance. "The transition team reports are ready," his aide reported. 90% of former Council worlds have completed their integration into the new system. The changes weren't just political. Earth's scientists had shared their breakthroughs with other species, while learning from the unique approaches their new allies had developed. This exchange of knowledge had led to advances that neither side could have achieved alone. Dr. Reed, leading the new Galactic Information Exchange, demonstrated the transparent communication network that had replaced the Council's secretive systems. "All technological developments are now shared openly," he explained. "No more hidden advances, no more artificial restrictions on progress." In the shipyards around Mars, vessels of mixed crews worked together, combining different species approaches to space travel. The same facilities that had once built Earth's revenge fleet now produced ships designed for exploration and scientific research. The Council's greatest mistake, General Wilson commented during the ceremony, wasn't underestimating our technology. It was underestimating our capacity for cooperation once their deception was exposed. The former Council leaders, those who had survived the war, watched from their confinement as their system was dismantled. Their trial had revealed centuries of manipulation, but also provided lessons in how not to govern a galaxy. Major Foster, now heading the Alliance's peacekeeping force, had ensured that no species would ever again be able to secretly dominate others. "Our ships patrol in mixed crews," she explained. "Every mission includes representatives from at least 3 different worlds." The Alliance's first major project was already underway, a complete survey of all known space, revealing any remaining hidden Council facilities and ensuring no other species were being secretly exploited. "We found 3 more developing civilizations," reported Taylor, now leading the Contact Division. "Unlike the Council, we're being open with them. They'll join the Alliance when they're ready, as equals." In Earth's universities, students from dozens of species study together, each bringing their own perspective to galactic challenges. The same innovation that had allowed humanity to surprise the Council was now being applied to solving problems that affected all species. The Council thought isolation would keep species weak. Admiral Stone addressed the chamber. They never understood that true strength comes from diversity and cooperation. The ceremony reached its climax as representatives from all member species signed the Alliance Charter. Its first article directly addressed the Council's former practices. No species shall be deemed primitive, and none shall be denied knowledge of galactic society. As the newly formed Galactic Alliance celebrated its official founding, ships from every member species joined in a grand display above the capital. The formation included vessels that had once fought each other, now flying together as symbols of unity. Commander Miller watched the display from the chamber's observation deck. "We came looking for revenge," he mused, "but we found something better. A chance to build something new." The galaxy had entered a new era. Earth's revenge had not just destroyed and corrupt system, it had given birth to something greater. As the celebration continued, the stars seemed to shine brighter, illuminating a future where no species would ever again be caged by another's deception. The Council's fall had taught the galaxy a powerful lesson. True civilization isn't measured by technological advancement, but by how that technology is used to benefit all. In the end, humanity's greatest victory wasn't in defeating the Council, but in showing the galaxy a better way forward.